welcome. I'm Lori from Women's Health on the Go. We've got Debbie Licurse with us. She's going to be talking about homeopathy, and I'm very excited to have her on the show to talk about another wonderful alternative medicine modality that we as women, and for our men that are watching as well, can use. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Lori.
I am so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. And I've been practicing for over 10 years as a homeopathic practitioner. I work particularly with women's health and children and many, many things. Homeopathy is an amazing healing tool that uses remedies, natural substances from nature. So it could be plants, minerals, rocks, tissue cell salts. Everything is from nature. There's no side effects with homeopathic medicine, and it's very curative and very, very healing. I want to talk a little bit about how allopathic medicine compares to homeopathic. So when you go to a doctor, basically they'll take your symptoms and say, for instance, you're having pain, like tennis elbow.
Okay.
Normally what they'll do is they'll give you a medicine, or they'll send you for x-rays, or maybe they'll send you to physical therapy. So they treat each body part separately.
Yep.
A doctor looks at each body part. So the neurologist is for the nerves. Orthopedic is for the bones and muscles. Each body part is separate. In homeopathy, homeopathic medicine, it's mind-body medicine.
Okay.
So we treat the mind. So we treat like the mental symptoms, what's going on with the person mentally, emotionally, and physically. So it's all one entity.
Okay.
It's mind-body medicine. And that's what creates a true healing. Because when you're treated through your emotions, it can treat the whole vital force, because a lot of our illness comes from our mind and our emotions.
Absolutely.
When our emotions are balanced, we're in a more balanced state. So the remedies help to bring balance to the vital force. And it's very different from herbal medicine. Herbal medicine is very supportive, and it works on, let's say, if you have a cold, you take a certain herb.
Okay.
You know, if you have flu, you might take another herb. With homeopathy, it is working on every single mind, body, spirit. So you have to take all the symptoms as a homeopath that is going on with the person, so that you can get to the root of the illness. So it's quite scientific and very complex, and I studied for over 10 years.
Wow.
It takes a lot of studying to learn how to heal, you know, to truly heal a person.
So when someone comes to you for, like, if I were to come to you for like a consultation, what does that kind of look like? Because it sounds like it's a lot more, like you said, you go to a regular doctor's office, he goes, oh, your elbow hurts. Okay, let's get x-rays and see exactly what's going on with that elbow. As compared to, it sounds like a consultation with you is like a completely different experience.
Yeah, it's very much so. Again, if it's, let's say it's tennis elbow, and it's acute. Okay, so then you would use an acute remedy if it's something that came on suddenly. Let's say if you're overworked, or maybe exercise, or your job, maybe you're overusing your elbow with writing or something. If it's something that just happens, I would use an acute remedy to treat it acutely. Now, if it's something that's been going on for, say, like 3 months, maybe 6 months, then it becomes more chronic. So in that case, I have to look more into your chronic picture. And then I go into more of the mental, emotional symptoms associated with this pain.
Okay.
Again, it depends on how long you've had it. So acute is usually something, I would say, maybe 15 to 30 days is acute.
Okay.
couple months, 2 months, 3 months, now we're going into chronic condition. So that's coming more from your chronic layer. And then I have to go into a lot more detail to find the remedies to heal it. I like to use the analogy of like peeling an onion.
Okay,
so
yeah.
when someone comes to you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they come to you at first, and we do like a 2-hour consult, the first consult.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I find out everything. Yeah, it's pretty intense. I find out everything about you. And it's very healing for a lot of people to talk about their life and about everything that they've gone through, you know, their traumas and a lot of the things that have affected them. Actually, when they're done with the consult, before they even start the remedies, they usually say they feel really good, just talking about everything that they have been through.
Yeah.
Because each trauma and every life event affects our vital force. And sometimes we suppress things just to keep going.
Yep.
And we don't deal with these traumas. So when we peel an onion, I start with what's going on with you presently. And they give me all their symptoms and tell me what's going on in their life. And, you know, maybe they're under stress at work. Maybe they just went through a breakup. Maybe they lost a loved one. You know, whatever the case may be. I start treating them with a remedy for everything that's going on with them currently. Then when they come back in 6 weeks, we go over what has healed with using that specific homeopathic remedy. What has healed in the 6 weeks? Well, maybe you're feeling less stressed. Maybe you cried a lot over those 6 weeks and got a lot of your emotions out that were suppressed. Maybe you're sleeping better. Maybe you're just feeling a lot calmer. There's always a change. Something's happening energetically to you where you're feeling better. So then we continue the consult 6 weeks later to find out where you're at that point, and then I prescribe maybe a different remedy or maybe a higher potency of the same remedy to continue the healing that's occurring, depending on what you tell me. So peeling an onion, again, we're peeling the layers to get down to
the
feeling
core.
really golden.
Yes.
The core.
Yeah.
You know, I like to call it like the pearl.
Yes.
You know, the pearl, so that you're working at your best. You feel your best.
Absolutely.
And you can come from your what do I want to say? Your inner true self to find your happiness because you've gotten rid of all this stuff.
Yep.
Through healing.
Absolutely.
So it's very amazing.
Now, when you talk about these remedies, like, what are they? Are they pills? Is it liquid? Is it like what exactly, if I come to you and get homeopathy medicine, what exactly is it? Is it a pill? Like, what are you giving us?
Right. Well, what it is the material from nature is succussed, and they're succussed into little tiny pellets. They're little pills. And there's a lot of dilution and succussion involved so that there's no added material, crude material to this little pellet. Energetic from nature, from whatever plant is used.
Okay.
So it's not like a herb where with herbal medicine there's a lot of crude material, and that's why sometimes they can be toxic.
Right.
With homeopathic, there's succussion and dilution hundreds of times to get it energetically to a potency, and there's many different potencies that are used depending on what kind of condition you have. So, for instance, if it was someone that was elderly, I would use like a 6C, which is the lowest potency because their vital force is very sensitive.
Yes,
or
absolutely.
if you have someone that's very ill, like someone that has cancer, you would have to use like a very low potency because their vital force is compromised. Most children can handle a higher potency because their vital force is strong. So children can handle higher potencies, they're healthier. If I have someone with a very strong mental issue, I will use a high potency because it's deep in the mental sphere. There's a mental imbalance going on. So I'll use higher to get to the deeper level of mental. So a lot of different potencies depending on what's going on with the person.
And it's just pellets that you're taking. And they're just like pellets?
What I do, they are. They're little pellets. I think most homeopaths probably take the pellets, put them right into your mouth. The man that I studied with is world-renowned homeopath Lucas Shepper, and we put everything in water. I put them in medicine bottles with water because it dilutes, and it's very gentle on the vital force.
Okay.
And there's a lot less aggravations when it's in water. It just works better. Yeah.
Now, can you typically, I know with herbal medicine, you can sometimes use a couple of different herbs, in one, like a tincture bottle, we'll call it. Is homeopathy the same way? Are you only using one ingredient, or is it possible that because someone may have several layers and lots of different things going on, that you're using a couple of different remedies?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question, Lori. Very good question. I practice as a classical homeopath, so I only use one remedy at a time, depending on the layer that's going on.
Gotcha.
That's called classical homeopathy. So that's a really good question. There are homeopaths that mix. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's a little different. They'll see what's going on and they'll put 3 remedies in, say, the bottle and try that at the same time. It's kind of like a pharmacy way of doing it. It's more allopathic.
Okay.
Really. It's an easier way to treat because you're just getting the symptoms and throwing some remedies in a bottle. Classical homeopathy is much more specific, much more healing, and it works better. It's just, but you can do it the other way.
Now, I know that you work with women's health. I know 2 things that I saw. I know you wrote a paper about herpes, and then I also saw in that paper that the patient also had PCOS, which is something that also a lot of women have. I think in my practice, even my clinical practice, I see a lot of younger girls are having more issues with their periods, and I believe it's because of all the hormones and all that kind of crazy stuff that our environment has. When you have someone, let's just say the PCOS, do you find that that is something that's more of they have a lot of layers and it takes a long time, or is it something that's easily fixed? Hopefully that kind of makes sense, that question.
No, absolutely. Very good question. Normally, if someone has something, let's just say, if you have like an ailment for a year, right? Say for 1 year you've had something. Normally, on a homeopathic remedy, if you get the right remedy, it would only take about a month on the right remedy to heal it.
Okay.
So the less, you know what I mean? So you can compare it to that. 1 year of an ailment to 1 month of a homeopathic, the correct remedy. We'll go in and work on it. The remedies are wonderful for women because with the hormones, as young women go through puberty, when their bodies change so much in puberty, the remedies help to create the balance that they need to go through it much more smoothly. And if you get treated at that age, there's been studies on it, there'll be less emotional problems in life, less mental disorders, because puberty is a great time of change for a young girl.
Yes.
If she's balanced with whatever therapies, especially homeopathic, it works very deeply, there will be less issues later on in life when you have balance going through that time in your life. I did a women's study on menopause and homeopathic medicine, and it was amazing how it helped with the hot flashes, the insomnia, the depression, the hair loss, all the different ailments that we suffer. It helped with all of that. I had 15 women I worked with, and they all did very well. Yeah, very well, compared to using hormones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, let's talk about, because that was like my second thing of when you were talking about like hormones throughout the life, and you're saying how and it's true, when we're younger, if everything is working copacetic when we're younger, our lives are going to be a lot better as they go through. Now, did you notice that women who are going through menopause, Was it easy to actually treat them because maybe their menopause symptoms just started happening a couple months ago? Or was it more long-term because, we have a whole life of hormones, and now all of a sudden we're going through what I think is the third phase of women. We have before we get our periods, then we have our childbearing, and then we have like the menopause, the wisdom years. So did you find that, am I making sense with that question?
You are, yes. So I think women that go into menopause fairly healthy can get treated homeopathically very, very quickly for their hot flashes. If they have chronic health issues along with hot flashes and insomnia, they would just need to stay on treatment longer.
Okay.
So they may need to stay on treatment for a few years in order to get themselves back in balance again. But women that go into it healthy have a much shorter duration of needing remedies. So it depends on where you're at when you go into it. But, I've been using it for 20 years, 10 years on patients and 20 years on my family. And I find that, you never really stop healing. Mm. We're always working on something,
Yeah, absolutely.
You can have something mental that's a difficult thing, and you might need treatment that month for it. So, we're always kind of taking care of ourselves, keeping ourselves well, hopefully.
Yes.
Throughout our lives. But the other thing is working with, as you spoke about women, when they're pregnant, they can take the remedies because they're safe.
Oh, okay.
They're effective. There's no side effects. Matter of fact, I wanted to mention, I got into homeopathy 20 years ago. I was pregnant with my 7th child.
Wow.
And I was suffering from fatigue, as you can imagine.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
I was so tired running a business, pregnant with my 7th, and I was like, I needed to find something that was natural that would give me energy because I was just so tired. And I just studied, and I found homeopathy. I just started reading every alternative therapy that I could find, and I went to a homeopath, and he put me on a remedy called sepia. It's the ink from the cuttlefish. And it's a remedy for women that are worn out. Uh-huh. It's a very big hormonal remedy. And for women that are pregnant. Also, it could be a woman in menopause. Anyway, he gave me the remedy. And I'm not kidding you, I felt like a veil was lifted.
Oh, wow.
From my whole face. The energy I felt within a couple of days was like, it was magical. And from that day on, I was a believer.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't believe how profound I felt so quickly with the right remedy.
Wow.
So I knew that there was a lot more to it than just the little pellet.
Yeah.
It really does work.
No. I think that we all, for us who use alternative, medicine, we'll call it, I think a lot of us, we experience it ourselves, and that's what gets us totally hooked on it. We're like, oh my God, there is something to this. This is working and it's amazing. And then we just keep going and we keep learning and learning more. I know that for me, that's how, I've gotten into all of this stuff. And, a lot of the guests that I have that, do lots of different alternative modalities, they always say, well, it started when one day I wasn't feeling good, and I didn't want to go conventional way, or the conventional way wasn't working for me. So I decided to go to the alternative route, and I did my research, and I found this, and it works amazing. So, it's not a surprise. And I think that there's lots of different modalities out there, and I think that we all have things that we find for us that works for us individually, because we're all unique. We're all wonderfully unique people. Exactly. And right. What maybe work for one, for some people, homeopathy will be perfect. And then for others, it'll be a different modality. We all have to find our own thing, and that's why I love doing the show, because I want to inform everybody as many modalities as I can, so that we can, we can inform women like, hey, and even those few men that are watching, we have some men that watch our show as well. So, and I know that homeopathy works for guys just as good for girls.
It does. It definitely does. It works on everything, Lori. I mean, I work with women that have had cancer. I mean, I'm probably not supposed to say that on television, but I have. And I work with a lot of different issues with women and children also, and even a few men. Oh, and even a few dogs and cats, too.
Oh, really? Animals, too? I did not.
Animals, too.
Really? Yep. I did not know that. Now, that is something I did not know. I've always heard about homeopathy, but I didn't know that you can use it for our little furry friends that we have at home. That's awesome.
Oh, you can, and there's actually a homeopathic vet that I'm not one. I've worked with pets, but I'm not a homeopathic vet. But there are homeopathic vets out there that work just natural remedies with animals. So that's good.
So typically then, if I were to come for a consultation with you, that initial consult you said is almost about 2 hours long? Or does it just depend?
It is almost 2 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Well, yeah, it usually is. I get a whole intake of your I like to call it like it's sort of like your whole life from childbirth.
Okay.
It's a timeline. It's a timeline of your life and, your childhood and, just everything that happened to you in your life and your work and what you do and what you love. And, so you really get to know your client on a really good level so that, you can hopefully really help them, homeopathically and also connect emotionally, to help that also. So, yeah, very in-depth and very personal. And, I really appreciate when people are open and honest about the things they go through, because then I can really help them. No,
absolutely. Yeah. Now, can you, I know that you have a physical place that you do this, but can you also, this whole concept here is we do video, I do video consultations with people, throughout New York and the tri-state area and stuff. Now, do you offer the same service as well in case one of our viewers in the tri-state area wants to come and see you?
Oh, well, thank you so much. Yes, I have 2 offices, one in Poughkeepsie, New York, and I also have one in Kent, Connecticut. They're about an hour from each other. I also do Skype, and I do actually a lot of phone work. I have a lot of clients in the city. I have clients in Rockland County, and I also have space in Rockland where I see clients, but I do a lot of work on the phone. Okay. And I do Skype, so all of the above.
So you don't necessarily need to see the person. You just really need to talk to them.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't need to meet them, although I do like meeting people.
Yeah.
I certainly can. I like face-to-face, but I can do Skype and a lot of phone work. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, 30 minutes is practically over. I'm so happy that you came on the show and offered this information, because I think it's just yet another wonderful modality that, women can use for, it seems like any medical condition. Is that correct?
It is. It's for any medical condition, not just for women or not just for female health. But any medical condition, you name it, it works on everything.
Well, let me ask you.
It works on everything. Go ahead.
Can someone just come to you if they're just, maybe they don't have anything physical, but they're having problems with depression or something?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. It works very good on grief, which is what brought me to it also. Works very well for grief, very well for loss. It helps to heal that anxiety, depression, and that sadness. It helps to process the feelings very, very well. A lot of times people get stuck in their emotions. If they're going through, like, say they lost a loved one, you get stuck in your emotions and you can't move it, the remedies energetically move energy, you know, to create that letting go and that healing. So, yeah, it's very good for that.
Okay, that's really good to know, because I think that there's some people out there, too, that don't even necessarily want to take prescription medication for, you know, depression or whatever emotion they're wanting to go, that they're going through, and to have another modality that they can use that sounds like it doesn't have any side effects, no contraindications, and is just all around a wonderful modality, that would be a great thing for them to get access to.
Absolutely. With the prescription drugs, a lot of times they'll, as you know, they'll continue you on prescriptions, and they'll have to up the dosage, or maybe change the medication to continue to try to suppress symptoms. But with homeopathy, you're actually healing the symptoms with the remedies. So you're healing that depression, and you're not suppressing it with a pill.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know? I mean, if you also look at prescription medications for depression, unfortunately, one of the big side effects is suicidal, you know, feelings and stuff, which does not help when it comes to those kind of things. And I know there's lots of research on long-term effects of you know, those kind of medications. So I think it would be awesome to have an alternative modality. So thank you, Debbie, so much for coming on and having this conversation. As I tell everybody at the end of my shows, you know, I'm always trying to bring new information and new modalities and everything to open up your minds, to inspire you to not just, you know, maybe possibly just go to conventional medicine, but to open your hearts and your minds to a whole bunch of different other modalities that are out there and that are wonderful. And they're no side effects. They're so much better on our bodies, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. And I think homeopathy is just another one of those modalities that I'll think is wonderful. Thank you, Debbie, again for coming on our show. I am going to, in the feed of our show, I'm going to put all of Debbie's contacts information. She's got a Facebook page. She's got a website, so that if you want to, you know, get in touch with Debbie, you certainly can. And again, thank you, Debbie, so much for coming on. I really appreciate having you on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Lori, for having me, and I think it's awesome what you're doing. You're educating the public on some wonderful, wonderful healing modalities. So thank you so much, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being on the show. I will see you next week. I'm not quite sure what the topic will be, but I'm sure that we will we'll come up with a good topic for everybody. And in the interim, have a wonderful week, and we will see you next week. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good night. Bye-bye.